Another finding out of the research that we've done in looking at how enterprises transform is they often fail to really look at the outside ecosystem appropriately. They're very inner focused. What does our enterprise need? What do we have to do to change? You have to start looking outward at your ecosystem. What are the current policies that impose constraints on you? Do you expect those to change? Who are your suppliers? Who are your potential partners? Who are the universities that might produce the future workforce? You've got to have this eye on the external world in order to be able to transform yourself effectively. All of the research at MIT is intended to impact society in a positive way. It's impossible to put your finger on the pulse of what's going on without looking out at what's actually going on in the world. Companies, government agencies. How do you draw that knowledge? And so I, as a researcher, have found tremendous benefit in working with ILP. I've been involved in various different capacities. Which range from giving briefings to having a discussion with executives to speaking at conferences. All of those have provided me with extremely valuable knowledge about what's going on in the external world. Every time I sit down with a group of executives from a company, I learn so much to inform my own research. And the various opportunities that ILP offers to the MIT community through conferences and executive meetings and the ability to brief visitors, all of these things allow us to understand the outside world in a better way. And they allow us to kind of push some of our research and new ideas out there to get feedback, to get response. This kind of cycle is so important to being able to deliver ultimate research that can have a positive impact on the world. When a researcher sits in an executive meeting and has discussions with visitors that ILP has arranged to bring in, it's a real opportunity to reflect on how important your research is. You could be briefing your research and get absolutely no response and maybe get an idea that that's particular aspect that you're researching or looking at is not ultimately going to be of benefit. It's a very powerful experience for a researcher to brief a panel of executive visitors and to get a positive response to your research. The types of responses that you get will help you to shape how you want to take that research in the future, areas you might want to emphasize or de-emphasize. And with industry discussing the types of problems they have, it often results in us finding particular cases of interest for us to examine as researchers. We get valuable contacts where we can have technical exchanges with individuals within the ILP membership. A research group here at MIT is often very limited in what they see in the big world out there. And when you talk to an executive panel from a company, you start to get a much bigger picture, say, of an organization where you might be working with one little team that's embedded in that organization, but the ability to then see what's going on across the whole company is really invaluable. So ILP produces some wonderful research reports for its membership that pull together a picture of what's going on at MIT for a particular area of interest. And as a researcher here at MIT, you actually have very limited perspectives sometimes about what other research groups may be using. So I personally also benefit greatly from these types of reports that ILP produces, primarily for the membership. But it makes you a better researcher as a result to know where you might reach out within the MIT community to enhance your own research program.